How to get rich. Oh God, that's out.
Oh God, I feel like that's the blooper reel right there. I like it.
How to get rich.
Yes, what we all want. I'm Josh. That's Keith. And we're here to show you how to get rich, or at least give you the basic topics of what kind of mindset you're actually going to need to get rich. And it's not the stuff you see on Instagram. It's not the stuff you see on TV.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception with the term rich. And a lot of people assume rich is either someone that can afford to buy really expensive things or someone that just has a lot of money. Which, in a sense, you could be rich if you have both of those things. But if you're imagining this luxurious life as being rich, and you don't realize the base level of what it takes to be rich, then there's a chance you may be rich right now.
Yeah, and well, technically, if you're watching this and then you are in the United States, you are richer than 95% of the world.
Yeah, we get a little spoiled and we don't realize that, you know. Gas prices go up and we're all freaking out.
Yeah,
but
putting them in trash bags, which, you know, they just eat, gas eats trash bags. So, but I don't understand that level of intelligence. But, so, how should you plan on stuff? The very basic way to actually start accumulating wealth and being rich is flexing that savings muscle. Starting to build that savings muscle. You have to make that a priority. So, no matter what your income is, you have to make saving a priority. I mean, if your income's very small, obviously you're probably going to be saving only a little bit. But as you build your income, you know, and find different ways to build your income by like watching videos like ours and others that show you how to branch out with side hustles and earn income other places than your primary work, you start saving more because you've already developed that muscle. You get that thing of people who are just like, oh, I'll give to charity and I'll donate once I have money. A lot of the point is you probably won't. Because if you don't start donating to charity now, just like if you don't start saving now, when you have more money, you're still not going to. Mm-hmm. Because you're just going to spend as much as you have. You have to start developing that muscle.
But now, so if I'm someone that just saves a lot of money, what does that mean necessarily?
So you take your income and you set aside whatever percentage it is, whatever amount it is. I like percentages because as your income goes up, your percentage goes up that you're saving. So set that aside. So let's say 5%. No matter what my income is, I'm going to put 5% into a savings account, or I'm going to put it into investing in a retirement account, whichever way you want to do that. And you just start slowly developing that. And then you have to learn to live on what's left. That part there, that what's left, is what you do. What most people have backwards is they make money, they spend on all their necessary expenses, and some of them probably aren't necessary, and then they try to save what's left. And 9 times out of 10, there's nothing left.
You're rich if you're able to take this formula of whatever your income is, you take your percentage, you put it into your savings, the amount that you have left over that goes towards your expenses, if you have any amount that's left over, so let's say you paid, you know, your rent, your food, whatever it is, you're rich. You have money now that is left over. And how you're able to manage that money, because trust me, I've learned, you know, in some of the mistakes I've done, that you could save money for months, and all it takes is maybe just one like stupid purchase or one, you know, one mishap that costs you all of this money that you've saved, and all of a sudden now you're in the negative. But then that's where your savings comes into play. That's why it's there. It's there to assist you so that if something comes up or whatever it is, or if you're trying to save for something, obviously you want to do that too. But it's taking that simple formula. It's you're making money, you're prioritizing that saving, then whatever you need, pretty much your basic needs to survive are out of that amount. If you have money left over, then you're rich. If you're in the negative, or if you're in a position where that money is just continuing to go down, you know, it might be a good thing to look at your savings, see maybe if you're putting in too much, or look at your expenses to see, am I spending money that I shouldn't be? Are there things I could do without?
And, you know, as you build that savings, then you'll start looking at different ways to grow it, different ways to get a better return on that money. And that's how you slowly, over time, get rich. What a lot of people don't like to do is that slowly over time part. They want instant rich.
Yeah, or they see money and that's their way of saying, okay, I have money, let's spend money. Because I used to get in that habit. Like when I was younger, I used to when I get my paychecks, I'm like, great, got my paycheck, gonna go buy whatever I want because I got money.
And the hardest part about that is you have that. So going back to earlier, where it's like it's not what you see on Instagram, it's not all that stuff. So you can have whatever income you want, and with the ease of access of credit and credit cards and everything, you can buy almost anything. You can go to a Louis Vuitton store and make $20K a year and still buy $1,000, $1,200 piece of luggage, and just to look rich, because you deserve it, because you want that lifestyle. And now you're going into debt and you really can't afford it, but you look rich, and people will think you're rich, but actually you have no money whatsoever. You are in the negative. You are broke. Or you could be smart and you can buy nice quality goods that are cheap, reasonable, expensive, or inexpensive, or you could find deals on a nice piece of stuff going to Goodwill. Real rich people, or people who spent stuff and now have to liquidate things, they donate stuff there, and you can find great deals on nice quality items for cheap, and being frugal like that. And that's also being rich. Just being comfortable in that and knowing that the flashiness isn't actual real wealth. Yeah.
It's pretty much like those people like have circumstances, and maybe you're not in that same circumstance where you can afford to buy whatever, but even then, don't look at that and just assume that those people can afford those things. Just because they're buying it, just because they're going out there wearing it, does not mean they have a life or a lifestyle that is conducive to, say, this formula. Because trust me, a lot of people can get very rich and they'll have their income, maybe not if they even have a savings account, but then that expense side, we look at basic levels of like living, like like rent, and trying to manage yourself with like food and how you can save money there. And those people sometimes they see the income and they say, okay, I'm making this much, and then that's when they get in trouble because they start spending a lot more, and in their head they're like, oh, I'm gonna make money, so I'll be able to pay this off in a few months. But then at that level, even though they're out there spending and they're making this income, they're in a lot of debt. And that does not necessarily translate to being rich. Like in my mind, I really do see like rich as having this set, but also being in a position where you're really not in any sort of debt. Debt happens, and for certain situations like student loans and all of that, completely understandable that it happens. Or other things. But once you're able to manage yourself and you can literally look at a bank statement, look at your life and say like, I have no debt, I paid all my bills, and I have $1,000 in my account right now, would that be necessarily a poor person? Or would you say that person is, good at managing their money, and in a sense, at a base level, they're rich?
Well, they're rich in the fact that, they're better off than probably 95% of everyone else, because they actually, have money in the bank. I think my definition of rich might go a little bit away from that because it's more about time. The problem with buying all those really things when you can't afford them, when you're not there to be able to pay cash for them or find deals for them, and actually going into debt for any of those things, is that now you actually have to work. You have to work either in your business or for somebody else rather than choosing to work, because now you have to pay these obligations.
Yeah.
Debt is basically a promise to pay back money. And now how are you going to pay that back? Well, you have to earn some money to make up for it. So you're trading your future time to pay for something that's already done. And a lot of people, when they buy things with debt, it's stuff that doesn't go up in value.
Yeah.
Now a house, give and take where it is, 9 times out of 10 is going to go up in value. That's probably the only thing that you can buy, or a business or something like that, debt might make sense. Everything else goes down in value pretty much. And if you use debt for that, then you're just now probably trading months, years of your life to pay for something that's just going down. I would rather, if I'm going to get into debt, spend that time on something that goes up. So for me, being rich would be having things and then having the choice of whether I need to work or not that day. Because I know everything's covered and my time is mine. Because for me, that's real rich, that's real wealth, because I've always had the mindset that I can make money. Money is easy to come by. Time, for some reason, I can't make more of that. I'm still trying to figure out how to become immortal. Because if I had that, then it wouldn't matter. But Time is the one thing that you'll never get back once it's gone, and that's kind of the one thing also you don't know how much you have of. So that for me is being rich, being wealthy, is having actually control of your time.
Yep, and having control of your time comes a lot with having control of what it is you're making to sustain the life that you have, the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work. You know, it's not just going to come naturally, but it does come at a basic level if you understand these basic points. In that managing yourself is number one, is the most important, and thinking about things before you really put a lot of time, put a lot of money into them. Because things like that, like I said, like a house, like it'll appreciate in value. You know, things like student debt, you know, if you're getting into it, obviously you're coming out of it making money and you have a plan to pay it off.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in another video, a little more about that. But and then it's the mindset too. You know, for Josh, and I think for me as well, it really is having that income to time balance for myself. But in that income, I also mean my expenses, my savings, where I see myself and what I want to do with my life. So if you're in that mindset already, where you're being frugal, where you're able to kind of lay back and say, okay, I can manage my money, I know how to spend it, I know where to spend it. You're that guy that, you know, you'll buy a $20 watch on Amazon because it does the job, as opposed to buying a $200, you know, flashy watch. You know, in some cases you have like an Apple Watch because it's for business.
I was just like, hey, what are you trying to call out here?
It's for business. If you're using it because it's like a cool toy, there's no harm in treating yourself like that. But I think that treating yourself portion should really come from the saving side of things, as opposed to the expenses, unless your expenses are enough from your income that you could say, okay, I can afford this.
A good takeaway from this video, I would say, for you guys all out there, is to practice, you know, make it a habit to go and look at some of the things that you want to purchase and how much it is.
Yeah.
And then how much you make per hour, per week, or whatever, however you calculate your income, and how long would it actually, how many hours of your life are you trading to get that thing?
Yeah,
and do you consider it worth it?
That's good, yeah, because then at that point it's a good exercise, because then you could see if it's worth it. But you can also set a goal. You could say, okay, you know, based on what I'm making, if I work, you know, 1 extra hour a week based on the, you know, based on the formula, whatever it is, putting a little more extra effort in, I can afford this brand new TV. I can afford, you know, whatever it is you're looking to afford.
Yeah, if you want to buy a $1,000 TV and you make $10 an hour, well, how many hours of that are you doing just to buy a TV that you're probably going to sit in front of just to waste more hours?
Yeah, I feel like the easiest mindset trick that I can give to you that I use is, you know, if one of those, like, if it's broke, don't fix it type of deals. Like, if you want the really, really nice TV and you can't afford it, like, well, do you just need a TV to just watch shows? Can a regular TV work? Do you have to go all out and buy the super fancy thing? Or can you buy something at a base level and it'll still do the same job? Pretty easy if you think about it that way, I think.
Yeah. So those are, I think, some good takeaways from this one. This one's pretty much short and sweet. Like I say, start looking at it, you know, what's your time? That's really what's your biggest wealth asset, is your time. And look at how much of your time you're spending on your stuff and whether that's actually worth it. Start looking at it that way. So until next time, likes, subscribe, follow, leave comments, complaints, concerns, email us, basicmoneypodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions for me or Keith. Until next time, that's that guy.
And that's him.
All right.
We'll see ya.